Hello there, I was recently on SteamDB. I go there to watch my favorite childhood game fade into obscurity, slowly becoming a relic of its time, just like me. While there, I stumbled upon Forgive Me Father 2. It is a retro first-person shooter developed by Bytebarrow. It falls into a genre I like to call Doom-likes. Yes, I know, Wolfenstein came out before Doom, but Wolfenstein-likes does not roll off the tongue. It just came out of early access. Wait, no, I see you rolling your eyes. I understand that the attitude towards early access games isn't exactly the best, due to various reasons. Bad experiences. Some gamers, hard R, have had negative experiences with early access games that were executed poorly. In other words, you got baited and shafted. How many times could this have happened? Unfinished content. Early access games are typically incomplete and might lack essential features or polish. Nobody wants to buy a $10 game for a 1-hour experience. For that kind of money, I could simply do crack, or ship crack, or sell crack. I hope you get the point. Broken promises. Sometimes developers fail to deliver on their promises, leading to frustration among gamers. The overwhelming aura of trust me bro that surrounds early access releases is a big turnoff for a lot of people. Wow, those are a lot of problems, Subpar. What makes Forgive Me Father 2 any different from those other games? Well, my dear viewer, it's because Forgive Me Father 2 is a sequel. Hold on, aren't a lot of the other sequels too? Allow me to elaborate. Forgive Me Father 1 released on the 7th of April 2020 to acclaim, not critical acclaim, just acclaim. It took heavy inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft. You can tell this from the eerie fog that envelops half the game and the plethora of Lovecraftian creatures. It also says it blatantly on the Steam page. It had its fair share of issues, from janky combat, odd dialogue, bizarre level layouts, and bullet sponge enemies. Despite all of this, it was considered a good game, even though it was Bytebarrow's first project. It had an all-time peak player count of 333 people. Oh, wait, that's abysmal. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Forgive Me Father 1 allowed Bytebarrow to prove that they were capable of making a good game. So their next release was highly anticipated by 3 people. So those few bided their time, waiting for Bytebarrow to release their magnum opus, the game that defined them. And on the 1st of September 2022, 4 months after the previous game, oh no, they released Mythbusters the game, and it bombed. It lost 90% of its player base within 15 days. Do you know how devastating it is to lose 90% of nothing? Not the best performance, if you can even call it a performance at all. So for the sake of the narrative of this video, let's pretend that game never happened. So yeah, Bytebarrow released Forgive Me Father 1, proving they were capable of making a good game. So now with pages upon pages of useful criticism and a small but dedicated following that are still playing the game to this day, Bytebarrow fired up the sweatshop, studio. And after a year and 6 months of hard work, I'm not exactly sure when development started, they released an early access game with less features than the original. And they're charging $20, well actually $16, since it's in a perpetual state of being on sale. It's time to go mask off. The real reason I'm making this game is because I'm disappointed in a team I didn't know existed a week ago. While playing this game, I was constantly hounded by potential that just does not have enough behind it to fully manifest itself and beat me over the head with perfection. Holy moly, that is the longest intro I've ever had. I think that's more than enough context. So into the game. We start off in a mental asylum, which is where I belong, but I like to be given the benefit of the doubt. I can be a normal productive member of society, as long as I'm given my daily ration of $1 million. Anyway, we are told to get up by a mysterious voice that I could not find the origin of. The disembodied voice tells us that the dirty, underfunded mental institute we call a home probably isn't safe. What an astute observation. So we pull out the knife that we just had, which I personally don't think is conducive towards patient safety, but hey, I've never ran an asylum. Just like an elderly dementia patient, I decided to explore the world the moment I was given a microgram of freedom. While on my endeavor, I encountered a man who was not in the best shape of his life, so I decided to administer first aid. I first sliced open his jugular. I'm sure there's more steps to this surgery, but I got bored. I was not gonna let a little bit of homicide get in the way of my fun, so I continued to explore. I then interacted with a very well-lit lever, and then came to face with 2 of the same guys from earlier. This was my fault. I forgot the unwell travel in packs, similar to pit bulls. Fortunately, they were no match for my English etiquette. Then I saw health on the ground and immediately got suspicious. Slight tangent. One of my major criticisms of this game is enemy placement. It's either ahead or behind you, or one tucked into a corner hoping you run past so they can gank you from behind. In this case, there was an enemy behind the curtains. This patient or inmate, I really can't tell. The clothes give off multiple vibes. These enemies look like their meds were switched with roids and tren. They choose to flex on me mid-fight, demonstrating that even in a life or death situation, you must never let others forget your gains. We faced a couple more of these meat monks on our way to our first true weapon, the revolver. It's a one-hit kill to basically everything in this level. Obtaining this item is a double-edged sword. Now that you can shoot, so can they. Waiting for you up ahead is your first armed foe, or more accurately, foes. These, I really don't know what they are. There's no ledger or journal in the game, so I'm naming them on the spot. Some of these enemies have hats, so I'm dubbing them the Sopranos. They fire a single telegraphed shot, and if you get too close, they will switch to a melee attack. We unfortunately took some damage, so this is the best time to talk about the health system. It's nothing too complex. It's a simple health bar and a shield bar above it. The shield bar works like armor in CSGO, where it only tanks some of the damage. Nothing crazy, right? Yeah, health doesn't regen when you load up a checkpoint. If you reach a checkpoint and are one shot, you're kinda screwed, so don't do that. All this talk about health and nothing about combat. Allow me to fix that. It's a Doom-like. The combat could not be more simple. Let enemies shoot, and you dodge, and let's shoot back. There really isn't much going on, is what I would have said if the game didn't have tomes. Clicking left shift opens up a book, My Kryptonite, and turns the screen grey. This shows that your selected effects, such as kill siphoning, you gain health from every bit of damage you do. Extra defense essentially makes you immortal, because while this was activated, I was able to tank a grenade. Reload speed, a buff which is very meh. I don't want to reload when I'm about to be JFK'd. Extra damage, because why not? Back to the game. We walk into a room with a shotgun on the floor. This is actually a trap, and no, not by the CIA, by the devs. Once you pick up the shotgun, you're attacked by every enemy in Somalia. Use your newly acquired shotgun and your revolver to clear out the area. And then you notice two doors, a blue door and a red door, both blocking away to the levers inside the respective rooms. So it appears we have to go out and find some keys and return to this area. I really hope you don't get tired of this gimmick. It's not like it's the entire game. We take one door and shoot a couple people and are able to find the red key. Right back to the same area, we go through another door and encounter a very dark area. It's okay, the devs gave us a torch that when wound up provides light for a very limited amount of time. I really appreciate this because the amount of games that turn into Helen Kellen simulators is absurd. So we navigate the mini-maze, stabbing people until we loop back to the same area. We finally pull the final lever and open up the door we need to progress, only to encounter a room with every trigger-happy nutcase in the institution. I used my shotgun and revolver to make light work of them, and then I went to the end of the room and found a token. This opens up many questions within my mind. What are they used for? How many of them were in this level? Is she ever coming back, despite what I did? I decided to brush all those concerns to the side and simply walk to the end of the level. Oh, a letter. Dear friend, do you remember Festival? Very subtle name. Our apartment on the Harbor District may not have been a fancy place, but it was always a spot to rest after the toils of the day. To this day, I recall the ever-present stench of fish and seafood. The city will never be the same again. A bit melodramatic, but okay. The newly opened psychiatric hospital. The echoes resounding through the cobbled streets kept us awake at night. To make matters worse, the escape of the patients brought these once peaceful neighborhoods to the brink of despair. People are now afraid to step out on the streets. I have nothing to eat. All the shops are either closed or looted. The city will never recover from this catastrophe. Holy hell, what a bummer, dude. Bro didn't even ask how I was doing. He just said hello and went straight to problems. Anyway, I forgot to mention, we're currently in the hub. This is where we can select previous missions and upgrade our tome and weapons. There's also a bunch of NPCs, which I guess is purely set dressing because you can't really interact with any of them, but still pretty cool. Anyway, on to the next area. Wait, I know this feeling. This depressing atmosphere. The overwhelming stench of unemployment. Welcome to Detroit. Well, it's called Port, but same difference really. This entire area is covered by a thick fog that brings my PC to its knees. Like every other citizen spawning in Detroit, your first and only objective is looking for employment. However, every other citizen isn't exactly very keen on seeing you live to the next day, so it's best to shoot on sight. We start off in an alley and immediately start shanking people, a reaction embedded within our DNA through evolution. We make our way to an open street and have a massive gunfight. This was fine. However, the dark setting and the fog kinda makes it hard to shoot enemies at a distance. So simply estimate where you think the bullets are coming from and shoot in that general area. Try not to hit any kids while you're at it. This area introduces the scuba diver, or whatever this is. He's one of the most dangerous enemies in the game, as he launches a volley of shots at you. One of the ways to deal with him is immediately land a headshot, so he becomes melee only, or you know, the old-fashioned way, and just fill his body with lead. They only put like 2 or 3 of them on this level, so they were only a small concern. I can't exactly pinpoint a theme on this level. There's some buildings that added verticality to our fights, and $10,000 apartments that we hop in between. I really appreciate the devs putting enemies slightly above me, because if you haven't noticed, the enemies are 2D, meaning if you look up at them at a shallow angle, they look like a sliver. Good luck shooting that. At a certain point, the level even allows us to see the next group of enemies and pick them off one by one from above. There's also a parkour section that I'm not really sure what happens when you fail it. It's just that easy. It's a nice addition. I just don't see the point of it. We then end the level with a massive open gunfight. And yeah, that's it. Dear friend, working in the shipyard is the only solace I have left. The metallic sounds drown out my memories. They pay poorly, but somehow it's enough to make ends meet. Just a week ago, and I'm immature, there was another tragic accident. They found a worker torn to shreds on the dry dock. No one knows how it happened. I worry that if I don't get away from here soon, I'll end up like him. It must suck be the guy who like everyone's fears just to not end up like you. So we're off to the shipyards. But before that, I added damage negation to my tome. The shipyards. Remember those diver enemies from earlier? Yeah, they're just a bunch of them now. I hope you like strafing. This place's gimmick is shipping containers and movable platforms. The containers just just like real life, release immigrants, and as you can see, the seas were not kind to them. This area introduces the grenade launcher that explodes on contact. PSA, if you whiff, it'll bounce around, possibly making you the next victim. And do not use it in a confined space. It's good they gave us this, because up ahead, we're in for the jumping of a lifetime. If you survive this, you've completed the level. Dear friend, oh boy. Remember our first days of the seminary? The cathedral was grand and chilling cold. The echoes of strange sounds sent shivers down our spines. There was that one priest everyone was afraid of. Only you could stand up to him, but it cost you dearly. Definitely too much. You're gonna elaborate? To this day, I don't know how to repay you for that. We're going to church, which is bad since I'm banned from there for the crime of not touching kids. The sanctuary introduces the monk, who probably has an attack, but I wouldn't know it. I've killed him every time before he's ever gotten a chance to use it. It also introduces these shielded bastards who wait for you to be vulnerable and then launch a shotgun volley at you. Just in case you thought all of that was sweet, let me introduce you to the bomber. He hurls grenades at you that explode on contact, and if they don't, bounce around and somehow randomly make the stars align so you still get hit. This is where I can truly say the difficulty ramps up. Most enemies can shoot back, so it goes from an FPS to bullet hell. The big ending area of this game are a bunch of levers that you have to pull down to shift temples to make a platforming bridge. This is one of the decisions of all time, as the levers are kinda in the middle of nowhere, and if you're a cynical fuck who observes this place in a vacuum, questions start to arise. Who does this bridge serve? It's not exactly elderly friendly. Anyway, back to the hub. Letter 4. Dear friend, the daily morning prayers and tending to the graves were a terrifying experience. We managed to get through it because we could always rely on each other. This is getting gay, man. We devoted time to learning mysterious rituals whose full meaning eluded us. Ah yes, remember the witchcraft? That would have been so fucking good to know in the first letter. The square in front of the cathedral was a place where we could briefly escape the severity of it all. I returned there recently and the place has become desolate. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still watching me. An undeniable sense that evil lurked around every corner. The cold moonlight only added to the eerie atmosphere. After spending a while there, I can confidently say I'll never return. Seeing that place in such a state was a painful experience. Stay far away from it. Man, we probably shouldn't go there. Welcome to the cathedral. It's basically the sanctuary, but with even more dickheads in a single area. It's also making me show off my lack of object permanence, because for 3 good minutes, I struggled to find these stairs. After that embarrassment, I quickly blew through the entire level. Towards the end, you can see an exit, but you can't exactly jump high enough to reach it, so that's when the game decides to throw every enemy it can at you, including grenadiers in a small confined area. If you manage to survive this, you're rewarded by getting to play the rest of the game. It was at this point that I realized that conveying this game to you through text is very difficult, especially since every level is basically the same. No, seriously, the layouts are very similar. Just kill and make it to the end. I can only put a spin on that so many times. So for the next few levels, I'm going to give you a window into the mind of a man whose livelihood potentially depends on AdSense. I really appreciate letter 5 disappearing into the ether. Man, I can't afford anything. Life truly imitates art. I already have damage resistance. I think I'm just gonna save for the lifesteal. Will the game end before I get to buy it? Who knows at this point. I've kind of been skim reading the whole story. What does any of this have to do with a mental institution? Ah yes, fighting these guys in a confined space. My favorite. Ah, the illusion of choice. Left or right? Why are there monks and prison inmates in the trenches? I'm completely fine with reusing enemies, but why are they here? I forgot to tell you we got a rifle a couple levels back. I apologize for not telling you earlier. I want to build this parasocial relationship on trust. I understand that it's a video game and it's an arena, but at least try and make it believable. Why are there explosive barrels everywhere? This was one of the longest levels in the game and I don't know why. Another letter. This dude has to get some hoes. Letter 6. Dear friend, war has broken out and I've received summons to report to the front. What's with these letters? Y'all got magic but not cell phones? Constantly sitting in the trenches is wearing me down. The sounds of gunfire and the agony of dying comrades haunt me. I hope that these aren't my final moments on this wretched field of tears and pain. All of the dialogue in these letters seems like someone just took a simple phrase, put it into ChatGPT and just said, make it more verbose. I must convey a dreadful message to you. Your brother displayed unprecedented heroism, saving countless lives. However, he paid the ultimate price. I had a brother? I haven't slept for 5 days now, barely keeping myself on my feet. There are scattered remains of decaying human bodies everywhere. We're running critically low on essential supplies, and we're barely holding the front line. So much senseless death, so much pain. Tomorrow, we launch an attack. I'ma be real with you. You can just go home. What are they going to do? Shoot you? You're already gonna get shot. Finally, I have enough to buy the rocket launcher. Considering the theme of this game, I have finally acquired the power to become a religious extremist. Welcome to the front line. Once again, what does any of this have to do with the game? Are we playing as the person sending the letters? Are we going back in time? I'm very confused. Once again, why are there monks on the front line? Go to church, bro. Their injuries are not service related. I may have miscalculated. Oh yes, Hans, put the key in the middle of nowhere guarded by artillery fire. It would be so fucking funny, yeah. I want to thank the devs for spawning enemies behind me, as they knew I had the ability to smell them there. Yeah, I'm not fighting all of that. And mission complete. Maybe if we put this energy into a job. Letter 7. Dear friend, I returned to our family home. However, even though I know I'm in a safe place, I still can't find peace. Fear and uncertainty continue to haunt me. I have so much blood on my hands. I wash them, but it's always there. My soul is shrouded in darkness, pulled straight from the deepest abyss. Every sound and rustle fills me with dread. I assume these letters are months apart, or at least weeks apart. Bro made it back alive from the war, and he's still bitchin'. The floor in the living room creaks even louder than during our childhood. I see strange, unexplained things. It feels like the paintings are gazing at me in a strange, eerie way. The house itself is deteriorating significantly, and I currently lack the strength to start repairing it. I feel an immense sense of helplessness within me. Who talks like this? Ah yes, I'm thinking of doing some repairs. Damn, that's great, John. An overwhelming sense of darkness fills my soul. And we're in the villa. I know this puzzle is supposed to challenge me intellectually, but I'm just gonna flip random levers hoping one of them solves the puzzle. There we go, trial and error, just like raising a child. Why is he in a closet? I forgot that this is 2023. He can choose to come out of there anytime he wants to. It doesn't mean I have to let him live though. I shot an entire rocket at you. How are you still alive? I would celebrate completing the level, but I'm currently mewing. Letter 8. Dear friend, have you heard about the disaster that occurred during the construction of the underground railway? Who came up with such a crazy idea that it's safe to travel underground? It was bound to end badly, and it did. May the Almighty have them all in his care. Bro is against innovation. I have heard people being against air travel because it's God's domain, but my brother, the ground? So many senseless casualties due to one person's whim. Nobody will trust the mayor anymore. The stain of a murderer will forever be associated with Mahani, someone who'd do anything for money, and I actually voted for him. I'll keep you informed as soon as I learn more about this incident. Have you ever noticed that things only go to shit when this guy is involved? Welcome to the New York City subway. In this universe, it's slightly taken care of. You are a 2D image. How am I supposed to shoot you in the back, you shielded fuck? I recommend upgrading the revolver into a pistol. It's going to be a workhorse for the entire game. Ah, finally, the least violent New Yorkers. Oh, a train section. The room is one shade of color. I don't know what I'm shooting at. Ah yes, the train. The mode of transport with multiple compartments. Only had one compartment filled with enemies. I appreciate the subversion, I guess. Letter 9. Dear friend, they didn't halt the construction of the railway. Can you believe they continue to endanger the lives of the residents? Not only the workers, but also the people living around the construction site were in danger. Yamahani sticks to his guns and claims that great deeds always require great sacrifices, and that technological progress demands sacrifices. He invites everyone to the official opening. However, there are rumors circulating in town that the place is cursed and tainted by some foul presence. Of all the places to manifest yourself as a ghost, you chose a railway? Haunt a preschool like a man. The sinking station. Oh, the real New York. Let me see some identification. That was a 4-minute level. I don't even have enough material to make jokes. I just shot people. Letter 10. Dear friend, I have been hit by a fever, and for several days I couldn't get out of bed. I went to the doctor, but he just helplessly shrugged. He couldn't even pinpoint the direct cause of my condition and prescribed some nasty tasting medicine. As one might expect, the treatment didn't help at all, and I found myself in the hospital. I had the unmistakable feeling that the head physician was conducting some medical experiments on me. I've become a victim of something unknown, something beyond known knowledge. You know, usually before a boss fight, you're given just like a bunch of ammunition. This is the worst ammo pool I've ever seen. Like, thanks, I can effectively take over a preschool now. Oh, Epstein's Island. What the hell is that? Hold on, is this the guy from the letters? Unfortunate. This would be very cinematic if I knew what I was dodging. He's shooting explosives at me? However, I can't exactly look down and know what I'm dodging. I have nothing better to do with my time. Wait, that kills me? I have to do the entire fight again. Well, that was Forgive Me Father 2. I found it a very enjoyable experience, purely because of the combat. The level design could use some work, because realistically, despite the different set dressings, I really couldn't tell the levels apart. So, dear Bite Barrel, finish your game. Thanks for watching.